Hey folks, how you doing? Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com. We're going to get into it today, folks. If you're on the Ancestry Lands Motivates channel, this is motivation to give you knowledge, information on things that matter in your life. We all are going through, we're all being pressed and squeezed by inflation, the economy, and I'm going to go over 7 everyday expenses that quietly are draining the middle class wealth. Whether you're a young college student starting out, just getting your degree, or you're like many of my watchers, 25 to 30, and you're looking to start, but you're in an apartment, you feel like life has gotten ahead of you and you're not sure where to go. I've always said this before. A lot of your success starts with your finances. It starts with your mindset, your motivation, your the information that you digest daily. And that's why this motivation channel has been started. And it's mainly because people need to understand how to format their life. People need information that's not just TikTok digested. People need information that's going to actually help them get qualified outcomes. And I've said that before. Thank you to my listeners, even on TikTok, Nolan and Meg. Shout out to you all. I'll see you all at work, obviously. And that's we're going to get into that in a little bit. But I got this article from Go Banking Rates, and it talks about that people run out of money before payday. They blame inflation, and really, it's not just rising prices that can wreak havoc on your monthly budget. It's also the everyday expenses that you do not track in your income. When you are getting your paycheck and you are going out and spending purchases without even having a plan beforehand, that's going to impact your budget. Even when you're single, you're 25-year-olds, for my 20 something year old audience, you may not think that venti or that latte or that Starbucks, you may not think it costs a lot because you're paying $10 today. But like most nurses, we work 3 days a week, sometimes four if we want a little extra money. And that's $30 if you spend that $10 to $12 on a venti cafe mochaccino, or you get the pumpkin spice, whatever new flavor is. That money is going towards a corporation. The same people that you're talking about are raising the prices, you're also feeding the money to. When you do not make your coffee at home like I do and bring it in, you're not, that $30 is part of your budget. Now, that's just the one coffee. I see people bring that in every day. There's no reason why you can't get a $5, $10 coffee maker. You can't buy actually good quality coffee, and you can make the same thing at home. Hell, there's so many YouTube recipes. You probably can make it better than what Starbucks is getting you, even for a pumpkin latte spice. And I'm not shooting people down for going to do that, but a little bit goes a long way. And that's all part of your planning. When you do not plan, when you have your income, when you get your paycheck, you should already have done your monthly budget before your paycheck comes. All you're doing is making sure that your paycheck is correct, what's the amount, and how that those funds are going to be allocated. You have to do this when you have a family. Now, for most of the people that I know that work with me that are watching this, because I love that my coworkers watch me, we've seen staff members who, and we've seen patients young in their early 20s, two kids, no father, and they're walking out of the hospital and because someone can't take care of their kid. They have a medical issue and they can't take care of themselves because they have someone to take care of their kid, and now that person can't do it for whatever reason. You're relying on other people to manage basically your household. And when you're, it starts young and it works its way into the process of you being an adult. It works its way finally into, well, what does it matter because I'm 20s, and then you can't change it in your 30s. Next thing you know, you're in your 40s, and then you're passing it on to your children because you're raising them in the same environment that you yourself have built. When you're in your 20s, you can't blame your parents anymore because right now you're your infancy stage in adulthood, training yourself to become your habits that you'll have into your 40s, 50s, and will carry you on into your 60s. If you do not build habits now, it will be hard to change them later. So, one of the bigger areas, like we said, is dining out, spending money. On average, Americans spend about $328 a month. This was in 2023. So, with the cost of inflation, that is going up even more. And dining out in 2023, this is according to the US Bureau of Labor and Statistics, right? That 33% of households earning between 100 to 150,000 eat fast food 4 to 7 times per month. Whew, big backs. And I'm not saying that that's not, but when you're alone doing this, that's fine. You got roommates, you can split a bill, that's fine. But what happens when you have a family of four, five? I mean, hell, I got a 9 and 11-year old and the 3-year old. They can eat a whole plate almost like I can. So this is going to go up. So again, while the McDonald's value meal every so often is a good thing, or a birthday celebration is a good thing, it won't burst your budget, but you have to be careful with the spending you do at a restaurant, because most of the times when you go out to a restaurant, you're not really thinking about limiting yourself. No one goes to a restaurant and says, I'm gonna go to steakhouse, Longhouse Steakhouse, or and I'm only going to spend $50. I'm only going to spend $75.87 plus a tip. No, no one says that. You go out, you might get drinks. And again, when you go out, a lot of times you could be influenced by your surroundings, by your environment. Everyone else is having drinks, wife, that's what happens whenever I go out with my wife. The first thing, it could be McDonald's, it could be a place that we went to every time. It could be another dining room place, or a dine out at diner, any place else. She will look at the menu and then instinctively ask me, what am I going to get? And I ask her all the time, what are you going to get? This shit happens at McDonald's. I'm like, McDonald's ain't changed their menu. It's cheeseburger, hamburger, fucking chicken McNuggets, French fries, or you have your specialty items. You act like you don't know what the hell's on McDonald's menu. But again, it's how you want to eat based on how you feel that day. You go out, like I go out with my homeboys sometimes, man, and we get a couple drinks. But again, I'm not there. I'm there to relax. But when you go out and you're on a budget and you can't write this off, which is another thing that you have to think about, is you can't write that off. You're spending on drinks. Now, if you got a little sweet honey love, or you got some PYT, for the people who don't know what that means, pretty young thing, means you got a guy or a girl, whatever your flavor is, and you taking them out, you going to get that bill. So whatever her appetite is, however big her stomach is and her back is, you're going to be paying that in addition to what you're going to eat. Now, you might eat a salad while she eats lobster to save on money. How's that going to work? And again, how many hours, I've told people this, and I'm going to tell all the young people this. Nolan, if you listen up. The way I do things is I calculate, and I'm not going to anybody on this. I'm just how I've always thought of things. Whenever I spend money on an outing, I ask myself how many hours I have to work to make that money back up. You get paid $100 an hour. You go out and spend $100 on one evening. You just got to work 1 hour to get that money back. Now, you do that with your rent, your bills. When you start looking at how much time, how many hours you have to work to make the money to pay for a particular bill, your household bill, your electricity bill, any bill like that, you will start to understand the value of your money. You've got to equate it to how many hours you work in order to get to that number. Your electric bill is $200. If you make $100, I know that's a very difficult number here in these sides of the states, and many states, except for maybe California or New York. But you got to think, even if you made $30 an hour, it would take you 3.5 hours, or 3 hours and 20 minutes to actually get to $100. So when you start putting your hours before your money, you will start to think differently about how you spend money. Now, that $10, $15 latte is really half an hour worth of pay. You got to work a half an hour to pay that back. So when you go into work, let's say a 12-hour shift like I work, the first 30 minutes is just free. You just brought in the payment. You got to work 30 hours to drink this latte, to pay for that latte, to that venti cappuccino that you like. And that means that the rest of the 11 and a half hours go to what you actually, on this one day, actually start addressing your financial needs for your household. Now we're going to get into the next one, electricity, right? The time that you use electricity, many people don't know this. You have peak hours of electricity usage. Sometimes running your dishwasher, your washing machines, typically in the late morning, after people go to school, or early in the afternoon, which is like right before the kids come home, or people get off of work, overnight, and even on weekends, you can lower your electricity bill. Many people do not know that. My wife, for the most part, does laundry sometimes overnight, but a lot of times, like right now, it's about 10:15. It's a perfect time to start doing laundry because the kid, all the busy, everybody, when everyone's going to work and get ready to work, those are peak hours, peak water uses, peak electricity usage. So typically, if you're a person like me and you work nights, when you come in out of work, that's how everybody's going into work. When you're going into work, coming home from work, those that 5 o'clock to about 8, 9 o'clock, those are your peak hours. The 5 o'clock till about 9 o'clock in the morning, those are going to be your peak hours, varying on your state and sunlight hours and things like this. Another thing that you got to get under control is impulse buying. A lot of people don't understand that there are things called planned purchases, and then there is things that you buy right on the fly. You see an ad, hey, I've got land. I want to sell you land from Ancestry Lands. You feel like you want to do it. You haven't sat down and worked out how you're going to pay for this. Is it actually in your budget? There are many camera equipments I want to buy, lights. I always want to upgrade shit in here. I want to get new filming equipment. And a lot of times I ask myself, one, do I really need it? The second thing I tell myself is, can I wait till tomorrow, or do I need it now? If you need it today, then it's a need, not a want. You have to get some internal discipline and control over yourself in order to manage your finances. In order to manage your finances, you've got to manage you. If you can't manage yourself, then you'll never be able to manage anything else. It's called self-control. And impulse buying, you see it on TikTok shops. You see it when you are driving by and you say, oh, I want to stop here. You see it advertising for coffee, and then you're going to go buy it. Now, to all my nurses that love coffee, listen, I'm going to tell you something about nurses. Coffee, we can't go without, especially you working a night shift. But you got to have the budget for that. There are some times where you got to treat yourself to things. And they talked about this when I was in my 20s. That cup of coffee can cost you more than you know. It's $30. See, again, let's just say it's $15 for whatever it is. I don't even go to Starbucks, so I'm just guesstimating here. It's $15 for your venti. Now you buy it for the guy you got a crush on, no names. And now it's $30, right? That's one day. Then you do it on the next day. So you spend $60 right now on what basically 2 cups of coffee you go and drink, and 2 cups of coffee for someone else. Not hating on nobody's, right now. And then you get another one for yourself, right? So that's $75 this 1 week that you've gotten coffee. Now, we're not talking about if you go get Starbucks any other day outside of that. That's just the Starbucks you get to go to work with. Like Starbucks don't sell coffee that you can go and take home. But because of that, that's $75 this 1 week. Next week, it's $150 if you add it and buy the same pace and same rate. That's $300 a month. That's $3,600 per year. That's just on coffee that you go and buy that they make and put, what did they put? Damn near fill the damn thing up with ice and then pour your coffee in. Which it would, even if you use the same amount, it probably would be, $3 for that coffee at the same rate that you buy it if you bought it yourself. So the impulse purchases are generally driven not by your financial goals. They're driven by your emotions rather than the need and or the value. Here's the thing about my life that I always get at about my wife. My wife loves buying things on sale. Shit, if we don't even need it, she looks like it's a good buy because it's on sale. I've had to explain to her the best sale is something you did not have to buy. 0 is a great number to spend on something. I know it's buy one, get one free, but did we need the one thing that we had to buy in the first place? If we need it, fine. There is a difference between buying something to save yourself money in the future, like toilet paper. Buy at Costco because, again, you know that the price of toilet paper will go up as all these tariffs and inflation is showing us. So buying 2 big rolls of toilet paper means that you don't have to buy for the rest of the year unless you are heavy on wiping your ass. So that means that you are saving yourself money because this is something that is a known purchase. You got to purchase toilet paper unless you're wiping your ass, or you don't wipe your ass at all. I don't know, but it's up to you. If you don't wipe your ass, so don't worry about it. Just walk around smelling like shit all day. And some people do. And the other part is if you do, then we get into thread count and people like watching this. This is too rough. Suck it up, buttercup. You got to save money. At some point, you got to look at, finances over comfort are going to have to matter. You're going to have to cut somewhere. But you can't live the princess life thinking everything's gonna be all right, and then you're financially gonna be entangled with someone in the form of a relationship, a marriage, or anything else. Because again, no one should be getting married these days or even thinking about finding a partner that they have not asked any financial questions to. If you cannot have a financial conversation with a person, and the only thing that you're looking at is what is in between their legs, whether it's a stick or a hole, you're gonna be in big trouble when you get used to banging that person out and it no longer is new. Novelty's gone. When that novelty's gone and you got to deal with that person and their habits, when you find out that she takes a dump or he pisses all over the toilet seat, when you get to that realization, being like, I don't like that shit about them, then you're going to be in trouble because you've already made too many decisions without understanding the financial habits and discipline of a person that you now want to cohabitate with, meaning live together. Now you're going to have kids. Now you're going to be sitting here saying, I don't like this person. I'm not attracted to this person because we're arguing too much. The thrill is gone. Where is the love? Like the Bee Gees, where is the love? And then what happens? Now you're thinking about separating. Well, that's going to cost you more than it did when you made this stupid ass decision because you didn't want to discuss finances. They don't want to discuss finances. Tell them, thank you so much. Have a good day. I'll pay for this meal, or you take your half and have a good life. Because again, looks fade, finances don't. So again, I'm going to say that you got to first ask yourself, do you want the new thing because you have no control, or do you want the new thing because you actually need it? You need toilet paper, you need dish soap, you need dishwashing liquid. So what you do is you find where you can buy it in bulk, and you find where you can get the price per serving. It's cheaper. It does take a little bit of work, but once you start to analyze the price for what you get, you can start doing it very easily and calculating in your head. You can look for coupons online. I know it's not fashionable, but once you get this shit dialed in, you're going to save yourself hundreds if not thousands of dollars later on in life. You got to worry about, like for the people that are 25, I'm 44, about to be 45. There are things my 25-year-old self did that I would thank him for. Congratulate him, buy him a drink. Hey, let's go out. There are other things that I would have probably knocked the shit out of him for because he wasn't thinking about me now. There are things that I ignored that I should have paid attention to, not making financial decisions, but just things even about my health, decisions to be in relationships that wasted my fucking time because I was interested in how blonde her hair looks, how white her skin was, or how fat her ass was. Or what she can give me that toppity top, that guac guac before it was a guac guac. There are things that I worried about then that I did not prioritize that were more important to me. And actually, I can tell you for sure, I lost some good women because I didn't have my shit together, because I didn't have a standard. The next thing we're going to get to is on this is that the subscription services. Oh, and especially this goes out to all the people buying them damn NFL packages. Now, I love the Birds, the Eagles just as much as the next person. But when you don't have the money, you shouldn't be buying the red zone NFL fucking 14 different screens of games playing on at one time because you want to see the games live and direct. If you wait just a few hours, the highlights will be on and you'll catch the whole game. Shit, if you wait a few days and don't hear anything about it, you can actually watch the game live, recorded in real time. But again, it goes back to that impulse buying. It says that now all Americans spend on average about $1,080 per year on subscriptions, not prescriptions, including more than $200 a year on subscriptions they don't use. Now I get it. You can make cuts in other areas to afford the cable package for your sports program. You want to get ESPN, you want to get on that, but you got Disney Plus. You ain't watching Disney movies every day. Your kids are on Disney. Shit, they ain't even watching Disney movies every single day, but you got to watch the newest season of Star Wars. You got to watch the new Yoda. You got to see it all. So you're going to end up paying what, $600-700 a month extra in prescriptions. Go back to my first thought of train of thought. How many hours does it work for you to pay for that subscription every month? We ain't talked about a damn car yet. We ain't talked about your rent, your ability to save. So again, when we talk about all the boomers having wealth and this and that, People have an advantage because they're older, because they have more time in life, more time to get their careers up, more, partnerships, things like that. That's always been a disadvantage, even when I was in my 20s. What has not been anything that's changed is the fact that your budget is your budget. Your ability to cut things, or they had subscription services 20 years ago. It's no different. They just have more now. They have cable pack. We got basic cable shit. Most of my kids watch stuff on YouTube. They're not even watching cable. So honestly, really, you only need is internet. You got to cut your subscription services. And hell, if you're in your 20s and you're going out more, what the fuck you need TV services for anyway? YouTube and Netflix, you get what? YouTube Premium for like 14 bucks. You're just paying for good internet. I mean, if you ain't on a computer like that and you're on your mobile phone, what the hell you need internet for in the beginning? You may not even need TV. Any which way, subscriptions. Once you cancel the streaming services that you barely watch, you got to go deeper. You got to look at, do you need Prime? Everybody loves Prime, but honestly, how many purchases do you need to come overnight or next day? So one thing wealthy people do is they actually review their subscriptions. They go through and look at, what am I subscribed to? I've got stuff as a business owner, music license subscriptions, things that I'm using. And when I see them hit up on that yearly annual, I'm looking and wondering, am I really using this service? I used to have this one called Art Grid, and it was great because it gave me like these like photo stock, even video ones, very well done in 4K, and had a license to use it. And after a while, it became where I could actually get it at a cheaper services. I had to cut. It was running me like $1,200 a year. As a business owner, I had to make cuts. For you too as well, you've got to make cuts. You got to look at and say, okay, what am I actually watching? What am I actually using? Now, if you're a homebody video gamer and you like that might be your it. But you can't tell me that there are things you're not paying for that you can't cut. $20 here, $30 there. It makes, now again, you could cut a subscription and say, hey, I'm going to cut this subscription and it's $30 a month, and that'll let me buy 2 cups of coffee at Starbucks. You can trade off. I'm not saying you got to be, basically wearing a monk robe, or you can make cuts and allow yourself to be treated and treat yourself, because you're making necessary cuts. But the whole point is not to stack up expenses like you're making more. If you have expenses, you need to be making double what you spend in order to save. You'll get there. If you can't do that, then you need to prioritize what you actually need to spend money on, and you need to treat yourself, not reward yourself. Because the problem with rewarding ourselves is that everybody rewards themselves every day, 3 to 4 times a day, and you don't have the money to really pay for that. Next one, bank fees. So if you're not doing any traditional banking, you could be paying tons of fees. One of the things that I had to look at in many of my accounts, especially business accounts, is the minimum balance for having certain accounts. Sometimes you have no fee checking and savings, but again, if you don't hold certain balances, like at some of my business account, I have to hold 5, 6, 7, $8,000 balances every month. And some of my Chase accounts, I realized that if I don't have a daily minimum, meaning that my balance is not over a certain amount in one day, I could still get a bank fee, a hit with an account fee, $15, $20. But shit, if you paying that for 12 months at a time, you could be paying like what, $150 or $15, 150. So you're paying about $180 a year. I'm sorry, excuse me, a year. And just bank fees that they're just taxing your ass on, and you don't even notice it. What's $15 this month? Well, start adding it up. Once you start doing your finances and doing your math, I've done a video already on how to budget, how to actually write out your budget. The best thing you can do when you're in a relationship is be with someone who sees you opening up, doing budget, and they understand, hey, they're watching you. They're saying, you got your stuff together. They're going to talk about it. They're going to want you to do this and see how you have your life in order. Now, it may cause them to do 2 things. They may run away because they don't want you to see their finances, which is fucking good for you. Because again, you get to know if somebody is going to be on a program that can help you build, or if someone's going to be with you to use your income to spend and make themselves have more equity. They're going to have more access to your capital. And that's the thing you don't understand. This is the reason why a lot of women now are not dating men, because again, men are not economically viable. They're going to get with someone, most nurses make more than the average person that they're going to meet. So again, the nurse's salary tends to support the spending for a person who cannot afford it. But if they're not going to be on your program, they're not going to do the budgeting, they're not going to do any kind of cost savings and things like that. Why the hell are you with them anyway? Only thing you're doing is having access to a person that you lust after, but you won't actually live with in life. They're going to move on to the next person after they suck your income dry or put you in a point where you got to pay for them. Man or woman, I've seen women actually have to pay men alimony in California because they were the breadwinners. It's happening, women. Get ready. And the only thing I could tell her is, welcome to the men club, because you got to pay for a person that he looked good, but he didn't work well. He didn't have a job. He didn't have income. He wasn't going after it. He wasn't hungry. So here we go. Next one, insurance. Go Banking Rates revealed that 29% of Americans cut or downgraded home, health, or car insurance in the past year to save money. Instead of reducing or canceling coverage, shop around for lower rates. Even for car insurance. One thing I've learned about our car insurance, we had them for like 20 years, and we always shop around for rates. Do not get comfortable or set in motion about buying or keeping car insurance from the same person. Look around for cheaper rates based on your coverage. Shop around and then go back to your credit card companies and say, hey, I've got a different rate. Can you offer me a competitive rate? Even if you're saving $10 to $20 by switching, it still adds up. So it says home insurance, renter's insurance. You got to look at what's going to give you the most bang for your buck. And again, getting a cheaper rate. And do you need that much coverage? People analyze what has the highest probability of happening to them and load up on the coverage and reduce the coverage for the things that are less likely to occur. You don't need you don't need flood insurance in the desert. Doesn't work that way. You need flood insurance in an area that gets a lot of rain. I would get flood insurance in Florida, but I wouldn't think about getting flood insurance in the middle of Arizona. It's least likely to happen. The other thing is credit card interest, man. I remember there was a song called 10 Crack Commandments from Biggie, Notorious B.I.G. And he used to say that goddamn credit, debt it. If you if you think a crackhead's paying you back, then forget it. Again, high interest credit card debt. You could be throwing away hundreds of dollars per month. Focus on paying your credit cards off as quickly as you can. I got a rule. If I can't buy it with cash, I usually don't spend it. I won't put it on a credit card. We pay off our credit cards every month. There's sometimes $4,000 or $5,000, but we have the income to do it. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that a lot of times you want to make sure that you pay your credit card balance off in full. Now, here's the thing that I've learned about in business, especially in a personal one. If you want banks to give you larger credit amounts, say your rent, all right, it's $2,000. You can't. Let's say your credit limit right now is $3,000. Okay. This is how you build credit. When it's not just paying the credit card off every month or making these micro purchases, that's great to build up a credit history. When you're building up you want to go up higher in limits, you have to be able to show that one, you're utilizing the credit. I've had this argument many times looking for bank funding. I wanted a large volume credit card on my Chase Business Inc. credit card that I have for the business. And they were unwilling to give me the $100,000 that I wanted. And that's the reason is I needed to be spending about $80,000 on the credit card. There's no way I'm going to be doing that because I'm just not buying that quantity every month to be able to pay that off. And they want you to be paying it off in full because, again, that's for the high ballers. If you want your credit limits to go up, you need to probably take a bill that you're going to pay every month, like your rent, put it on your credit card and pay it off before the billing cycle turns. So that way you don't get the interest charge on your credit card. It also shows the credit card company that you can handle paying off $2,000 a month and you're using, if it's $3,000, using about 66% of your actual credit and paying off the balance. Now, if you charge $25 on a $3,000 credit card, and you pay it off, that's great. You're just making good credit history in a series of payments. There's different strategies. So if you want your limits to increase, what you got to do is try to get that number up and intend to pay it down every month. Pay it off completely. because what you're showing the banks is that, hey, you can handle this quantity of money, and you're showing that you have good payment history with paying off that level of debt, that level of credit card charge. And you're making the payments on every time. You will see them start to increase your credit because it's saying, hey, and that's, think about it from the credit card company's perspective. If they can make you have a higher credit limit, good chances you'll probably spend more on a credit card. That means that they'll be able to charge you interest, which means that you'll spend $3,000 because you don't want to go up to the max part of your credit limit, right? And you're paying that down, which means that if once you fail to pay every single month or you forget a month, they're not going to hit you at that 23, 24% interest rate, which means they're going to be getting their money back. That's how they think. It's all algorithmic based. But the whole point is for you to know that this is your plan. This is you paying off your credit card in a way that helps you out. And the strategy is you want to build good payment history and you want to increase your credit limits, because when you have increased limits, you actually have a lower debt to utilization ratio, which means that when you spend on your credit card, you don't want to be having one $3,000 credit card and you spend $2,000 and you have a $2,000 credit balance and it shows that you're using 66% of your credit. You want to be able to have a $30,000 credit limit of maybe 4 or 5 different cards, and you're spending $2,000, which is a fraction of your debt to utilization ratio. You're not utilizing all your debt, which means that your credit score will go up drastically in that way. I've done it. I've used it. And it's to the point now I got more credit cards than I want. And actually, I'm still getting offers to increase it. But yeah, you can get to $1 million in credit if you can formulate and do this more often. You can turn this over. But again, it starts with the discipline. And we talked about those things here. And those are things you got to do in your life. I don't want to do this any more longer. I want to thank people for watching. For you young people, I hope you have watched this video long enough to get your financial understanding on what you got to do to get your budget under control. Because again, inflation is going to keep eating you up. It's going to keep tearing you up. When you have kids, you're going to have more things that are coming to your household is going to hit you and tax you with expenses that you have to account for. And it starts with your discipline now. These are 7 things that you can get under control now, make cuts, make sacrifices, make changes, and get your financial life in order. I'm Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands Motivates. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching. Leave a comment below and see if you got some value out of this. Stay tuned and watch our other videos that we have out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. That's it, folks. You can go to Ancestry Lands to start owning property today with payments starting at $250 a month, no credit checks, and owning land has never been easier. It's time to build your land portfolio one property at a time. We help you to get dollars from dirt and build generational wealth by owning small plots of affordable vacant land. Contact us to learn more. Oh, and speaking of dollars from dirt, I also wrote a book about investing in land for you readers out there. My book, Getting Dollars from Dirt, A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing, is on Amazon. The link is in the description section below. Inside, you'll learn simple, easy to read insights that will have you understanding why you should own land today. For more tips and tricks, subscribe for updates, comment below, and let us know what you enjoyed about this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
And remember, like and subscribe.